Hey guys, it's Jess. Thought I'd do a little video about my Painthammer thing, which I instigated over on Twitter. I don't know if you're aware of this. If you've been on Twitter, you might have come across it. Basically, at the start of the new year, literally on New Year's Eve, I came up with this sheet here, the Painthammer 2018 hobby log. Basically, what this was supposed to be is it's sort of like a personal diary of models that you've painted over the course of the year. It's just for fun, and basically it's something where you write in what models you've painted, how many there were, what your running total for the year is so far, and the date any given model that you've done was completed. There's no pressure or anything, there's no particular goal to aim for, there's no sneering if you don't hit a certain target. It's just a nice thing that you could fill in. You can look back at the end of the year or in the years to come and enjoy and think, oh yeah, that year I painted this, painted that, that was awesome, really good year. So I thought it'd be nice to get people getting in on this, and we've got quite a few of us now on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook using this sheet and tweeting it using this hashtag here, Painthammer 2018, hashtag as the kids say these days. Yeah, so it's a fun little thing that anyone can join in with, even if it's not Warhammer you collect. If you do something else like a Privateer Press game or Malifaux or whatever you do, feel free to take part as well in that kind of thing. It's just basically a nice way to collect your models and make a note of what you've been up to. And you see at the bottom there's these optional fun achievements. These are just fun things like if you've entered a painting competition, if you've managed to paint 365 minis over the course of the year, so as if it was one a day, and then you can tick one just for having shared your hobby on Twitter, Instagram or Facebook. So there's achievements of all different levels there for anyone, and like I say, there's no pressure to kind of do a certain amount every month or over the course of the year. It's just up to you how much you paint. As for me, I have actually been quite busy. My Painthammer list at the time of recording looks like this. I've been really busy. So the first thing I did this year was a Redemptor Dreadnought. Then I did some Blight Kings for my Nurgle. And then there's a bunch of Tzeentch stuff which I did as a commission, which was Blue Horrors, Brimstone Horrors, Kyric Acolytes, Zangors, Herald of Tzeentch and Zangor Enlighten. Shortly after that, the new Nurgle stuff hits, so I did Rotigus Rainfather. I'll do a video on him actually at some point because that was a really nice model. I did 30 Plague Bearers in one shot. That was fun. Then I did a Feculent Nullmaw, a Sloppity Bilepiper and 3 Nurglings. And most recently I've just done some Dark Angels Inceptors, which... hello. These are the little plasma ones, so yeah, they're pretty awesome. Yeah, so that's the Painthammer hobby sheet. You can download this from my Twitter. It's a pinned tweet at JillKnightJess if you want to go and have a little look at that. Just download it, print it out and fill it in as and when you do stuff. So again, don't feel bad even if you only add one model a month onto it. That's totally fine. It's just a log so you can keep track of your own progress. And then maybe when 2019 comes around, if we do Painthammer 2019, maybe it gives you something to aim for. I think I'll try and do a few more models than I did in 2018. And yeah, that's basically all it is. So I hope you like the idea and feel free to join in. And make sure you share anything you do with the hashtag Painthammer 2018. There you go. Yeah, and I've got a few thoughts on how you can be a more productive painter. I've wrote a few little ideas down. I don't know if any of you struggle with motivation or you have trouble turning out a lot of models. If you're hoping, again, no pressure, if you're hoping to do more painting than you have done in previous years, these are just a few little tips that I've come up with. If you've got any tips on how to be a more productive painter or how to improve your painting game, if you want to recommend any particular YouTube channels for painting tutorials, please post them down below. I always love to see that sort of thing. Yeah, so my first point is dry brush for days. That was supposed to be the word dry brush it sounded like dry brush. Dry brush for days. Basically, like, again, going back to these, I dry brushed the armour. I didn't edge highlight all of those green panels. I did pick out a few panels with a very light green after the dry brush, but for the most part I just gave them a quick dry brush, because your general troops often don't need that level of meticulous edge highlighting, particularly if you've got like a tactical squad of 10 Space Marines or something. The last thing you want to do is spend 3 or 4 weeks trying to get the perfect edge highlighting on them. I don't think many of us particularly aim for heavy metal standards across an entire army. It's nice to aim for a hero model now and then, but for regular models, I don't worry about it. I'm a big fan of dry brushing. It's not a crime. Second point is shades are instant talent. You've probably heard this before. Agrax Earth Shade, Null Oil, put them over anything and it just instantly makes a plain area look amazing, because it just shades it, goes into the recesses, gives you that really nice depth, which looks awesome. But what I wanted to say was you can use coloured shades to save yourself some time, and you can get a really nice variance in how things look. For example, if you have something that's gold, you can use Reichland Flesh Shade on it to give it a nice deep goldy reddy tone. You could use Nuln Oil on it to give it a dark kind of almost dirty brassy tone. Or you could even use like a red glaze on there to give it a really kind of magical tone. And you can kind of do this with all different colours of shades. So for my Dark Angels, again going back to this guy, these guys have a recess shade of Dragonhuff Nightshade, which is actually a dark blue, rather than using black, which is just a bit black, or Agrax Earth Shade, which can give them a dirty look. I find that the Dragonhuff Nightshade gives them a really nice depth of blue to the green armour, and it kind of just makes it look a lot nicer, I think. So experiment with different coloured shades. You can often cut corners this way a little bit as well, which I'll get into later. Third point is have some background noise. This isn't true for everybody. Some people work better in silence, I get that. But for me, I need some background noise to distract that little voice that says, I'm bored of this. If it's particularly, I'm painting 30 models and they're all the same colour at the same time, like the Plague Bearers. I was marathoning Star Trek Discovery in the background while I was painting those, and it made the time go by really quickly, and I didn't realise essentially that I was just doing the same motion again and again and again over the course of about 5 or 6 hours in one sitting. I didn't even notice the time go by. For you that might be listening to one of the Black Library audiobooks, you might be listening to a podcast, maybe you like Heel and Hammer podcast or something like that. Obviously brilliant podcasts out there. That's just one of many brilliant ones to listen to. So yeah, let me know what you listen to or watch while you're doing your hobby. And my last point, yeah, that's 4, isn't it? Yeah. Use less colours. So this might sound counterintuitive, but if you're just using, again, you're doing troops, you don't have to use 1,000,001 colours. A lot of the painting tutorials will say you need this colour, this colour, this colour, and they'll have like the whole widescreen picture on the video of all the different colours you need to use. And often it's a few different shades of brown, a few different reds. You don't necessarily need that. You can cheat a little bit if you use coloured shades. So say you had Xandri Dust. You could use Xandri Dust as a base colour, and you can paint scrolls, you can paint the skulls on the base, you can paint the chest plates on Space Marines, paint any leather areas, anything you think of that can use that as a base colour, teeth, horns. Do them all in the same base colour. Yes, you don't want them to look the same when they're done, but as a base colour, that's fine. Because, and this is the clever part, you can use your coloured shades to vary the tone afterwards. So, let's say you had Xandri Dust on one of these guys, and you've put Xandri Dust on his base because there's a skull there, and you've put a bit of Xandri dust on his chest plate, and let's say you painted the shoulder pads with Xandri dust as well, because that's, you know, you wanted them lighter for some reason. So to change that up, what you'd probably do is on the skull on the base, you'd use Agrak's Earth Shade to give it that kind of dirty, worn bone effect. Then on the chest plate, you might decide to shade that one with a bit of Reikland Flesh Shade, which will give it a nice reddy tone. And then the shoulder pads, you might just choose to do a recess shade of a colour, whether that be like Nuln Oil or Agrak's Earth Shade, but you'd apply it differently, so it gave a different effect to the colour without actually being a different colour. So you can kind of speed up your base coating process and still have it look like a different colour at the end of the day. And once it's on the table, no one's going to say, oh, you've used the same colour a million times, because you can kind of work really quickly with the shades. You can just almost slap them on and they'll sit in the right place for you. So yeah, it's a really nice way to kind of save a bit of time and save a bit of money as well, because you don't have to buy 1,000,001 different shades of brown or bone or you name it, you know. Yes, they're just my few little tips. If you've got any more tips or any suggestions, post them down below. Hope some of those little ideas might have been helpful to you. This video is running on, what, 11 minutes? It's gone on a little bit. Hope you've enjoyed listening to me ramble on. If you want more interesting hobby videos and tips and stuff like that, let me know that as well down below. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye.